Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. So it says here, death to Arabs, mob of Israeli extremists evokes Palestinian rage against occupation and brings third intifada closer. All right. So I'm going to read through this article here, and it's basically the Israeli extremists that have been basically blocking Palestinians from doing what they've got to do within that land, pretty much. So-called Jew extremists blocking the Ishmaelites. And the point I wanted to get out of this is this, from this article that I was reading, is that according to the prophecy, the land of Israel has been parted by the heathens, man, pretty much. All right, you have Ishmael on one side and you have the Idumeans on the other side, the Edomites. All right, and both of them are claiming the land which doesn't belong to them according to the Bible, man. All right, so I'm gonna read this here. Right, it says, Israeli settler extremists chanting death to Arabs in Jerusalem sought to suppress Palestinians in the city, but instead have sparked a nationwide uprising and a political crisis for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The events that transpired last Thursday night after hundreds of supporters of the Israeli far-right group Lehava hunted Palestinians and attacked their properties in Jerusalem were completely unpredicted Palestinians throughout the occupied territories and even in Israel itself took to the streets to confront the attacks by settlers and the Israeli policies that have emboldened them. However, the Western press has largely distorted the view of events that have taken place and not provided it with its proper context. The actions of the settler extremists worked as a catalyst for what has now been labeled by some Palestinian groups as the Ramadan Intifada, not as a standalone cause of the uprising. Since the beginning of the month of Ramadan 2 weeks ago, Israel had imposed restrictions on Palestinians entering the third holiest site to Muslims, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is off in itself, all right, because they have a mosque in the land, because as it stands right now, you have Esau ruling. The main rulers over there is the Amalekites, all right, which are so-called white people, which are the Edomites, all right? And then you have the Palestinians, which are the Ishmael, and they have their belief, which is Islam, man. So you got mosques and synagogues in the Holy Land, man. Defiled. That land's totally defiled, man. That's why Yahweh Shai, in this Third World War, he's going to allow that land to even taste of the nuclear missiles as well, because it's going to have to be refreshed for us, man, to return back in there, the true people. So it says, since the beginning of the month of Ramadan 2 weeks ago, Israel had imposed restrictions on Palestinians entering the third holiest site to Muslims, the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. On the first day of Ramadan, Israeli forces entered the Al-Aqsa compound and cut the power to the loudspeaker, blocking the Muslim call to prayer. So Jewish Israelis, so you have the Israeli government straight up rolled in. That proves who rules the place. All right, Esau really rules that land, all right? Esau is in control of the world, man. All right, because he can just walk up into the mosque and just shut down their gathering, man, pretty much. That proves who rules the world, man. All right, why aren't the other Ishmaelites in the Middle East causing an uproar about this, man? Because they're under Esau, man. They're all under Esau, Edom's authority, because that's who rules the world, man. That's in the scriptures. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, all right? He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he, man? Okay, so it says, blocking the Muslim call to prayer, so Jewish Israelis at the nearby Western Wall would not be bothered during a memorial service in what was characterized by Hamas spokesperson Hazam Qassem as a racist aggression against religious sanctities and a violation of freedom of worship. All right. So they basically just shut down the the prayer services in within the mosque, the because they have that loud voice that calls the call to prayer. They just shut it down, man. The Israeli government, which proves who really rules it. And the Edomites have been killing them Ishmaelites over there for years, man. All right, because that's nothing but they came in the land like Esau does. All right, after Balfour Declaration, and they took that land over after I believe it was the Second World War. All right, they took the land. All right, they took the land of Israel. So the Lord never brought them in. That proves they're not the real Jews also, because the scripture says that the Lord will bring the true people back. All right, and King David will be ruling also again, man. All right, so that's just Esau, flexing his muscles pretty much over there, which he's been doing to those people to the Ishmaelites over there for years. All right, destroying them. All right. So who really rules in that land? Esau, man. So I'm going to read it here, but that's in the prophecy that you would have the heathens and they will be in the land of Israel, right? So this is Deuteronomy 28:68. It says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." And this is going into the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, all right, going into slavery, all right, into New America, which is New Egypt, which is America, all right, by way of those cargo slave ships. But it says, "By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again." And there, so it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again." And that's that land of Israel, right? With the land, we weren't going to see the land again. Our homeland, we were not going to see, man, until Yahweh Shai brings us back there, man. So the Israelites, we haven't been in the land. The true people of the Lord, so-called Negroes, Latino, Native American people, haven't been in the land since Yahweh Shai walked on the earth, man. And even when Yahweh Shai was in Jerusalem, all right, we were already, scattered into different parts of the world. You already had the Northern Kingdom were already in the Americas, all right? You see? So we already had a great scattering, man. All right? We already had a great scattering already, man. And then you had 70 AD where we totally got flushed out of the land, man. That's when we totally had to leave the land, man. All right? So you had, when the Lord was walking the earth, you had Israel, the Israelites, primarily the southern kingdom were majority of the tribes that were over there. We were still over there, man. But then when you had 70 AD and the Roman conquest of Jerusalem, we fled, man. We totally got taken out of the land, man, into the interiors of Africa, into Asia, into Europe. We totally had to flee, man. So we ain't seen that land. And then we got put into slavery. Fast forward, just a quick thing, fast forwarding into slavery into the Americas. So we haven't seen that land for years, man. So it says, "By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again." That's our our homeland, all right? Which is the motherland, which is the land of Israel, right? It says, "Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you," all right? Meaning no one was going to be able to get us out of the conditions that we were in. We were gonna be in, right? That's why you got so-called Negroes, Latino, Native American people in the worst conditions all over the world, man. In the worst conditions on the planet, man. And also under our oppressor, under the so-called white man, anywhere we are, and we're living in the poorest, the most crime-ridden communities, the most drug-infested communities. Because we're in captivity and no one's able to get us out this condition that we're in except our Lord Yahweh Shai upon his second coming. So Ezekiel, so our land, we haven't seen our land, man. And, the heathens have trodden it under their foot, man. They've had it, all right? And now the main heathen to have it at this moment is Esau, right? Which is the so-called Jews, Amalekites, all right? This is Ezekiel 36:5. "Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea," which is the so-called white man, Esau. All right, that's the Greek way of saying it, Idumea. All right, it says, "which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. All right. So it says, Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. So the Edomites have appointed their land, the land of Israel, the Lord's land, which the Lord give them the power to do so. But the Edomites have appointed that land into their possession, man. So they own it over there. They own everything over there, which is, Benjamin Netanyahu, all of those so-called Jewish folks over there, Edomites, which are their true biblical name is Idumea. So it says, Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. So they're the ones that have the power over it, man. The Arthur Balfour Declaration, man, after the World War II, they basically got the Lord had it happen this way, where with the World War, because the Jews, the Edomites were being persecuted, the so-called Jews, they concocted this huge lie that they were being persecuted throughout Europe, and they needed to all be brought back to their homeland, which is not their land, it's our land. And the Lord's telling you this here. So then ever since then, 1947, what's been going on there in Israel is a military occupation, because it was the Ishmaelites, the Arabs were over there, all right, for a period of time. Then Esau came in there and started bringing settlements, man, and taking the land slowly. So that's what they've been doing. It's an ongoing war, because it says here, Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. So how did they get that possession? How does Esau get everything, man? He uses his weapons, his swords, his policies, and that's what they've done. So currently they're the rulers over there in the land of Israel, but the Lord's going to take them out of there, man. Which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for prey. And they're happy that they have that land. And generations have gone by, and they truly believe. You got some of these devils, so-called Jews. They really think they're the people of they really think they're the true Jews, man. They really think that is their land. All right? Well, the Lord's going to bring that to an end, man. This is Joel. This is Joel 3 and 2. It says, no, I'll start from 1. Joel 3 and 1. It says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. All right? And that's what is happening now, all right? The Lord's bringing again our captivity. Judah and Jerusalem is the northern and southern kingdom, which the southern kingdom is the so-called Negroes, all right, beginning with Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and then the northern kingdom is Jerusalem. It says Judah and Jerusalem. So Jerusalem represent the southern kingdom, which is the northern kingdom, Salakia, which is the so-called Latino tribes, right? Ephraim and his companions, man. All right, the so-called Native Americans, the tribe of Gad, Mexicans, all right, Issachar. You see? So the Lord's bringing again our captivity. He's waking us back up, man. So why? Because we're in a time of our deliverance, to return back to home, basically. Because wherever we have been scattered in the world, all right, being these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, in our slaveries, whether we're in England, whether we're in America, whether we're in Sweden, whether we're in Germany, Holland, these are not our homelands, man. I mean, the world is ours, yes. When the Lord gives us the power, we're gonna rule everywhere anyway. But the true motherland is Israel, man. All right, and we're currently not there. All right. So it says Judah and Jerusalem. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. That's the point I want to get out of it, man. So we've been scattered everywhere. So it says, so the Lord's going to bring them. That's that Middle East, all right? The valley of Jehoshaphat, all right? Because that's where Armageddon's going to take place, where the Lord's going to judge the nations, man. I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the place of the Lord's judgment, man. All right. And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. Who's the Lord's people? Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, the true people of the Lord, the Israelites. All right. Whom they have scattered among the nations. And that's what I was just mentioning. We're everywhere on the planet because we've been scattered through our captivities, man. We've been in captivity under these Edomites and they've scattered us everywhere, man. All right. through, that was what you got. That's what you call the transatlantic slave trade, all right? That's another video for another time, but that's what it is. A transatlantic slave trade. We were being scattered, man, all over the world, all right? So it says, whom, and plead with them there for my people. It says, plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land, all right? And they've parted the land. That's why you have the Palestinians trying to fight and claim that it's their land. Then you have the so-called Jews claiming they're the people of the Lord, that they're the rightful rulers of that land. And all they've had there is a never-ending war, man. All right? But guess what? It's about to end because the Lord's getting ready to bring us back there, man. Yahweh Shai, all right? Going to destroy Esau, which is the so-called Jews, and the Ishmaelites out of that land. And then their future is going to be slavery under the true people of the Lord, man. Because the Lord is the one that's going to bring us back to the land of Israel, all right? He's going to bring us back home, man. So, with that, I'm just going to say all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Shalom.